Welcome to Deep Thought. People will have to adapt to the changing environment. In a previous episode, I talked about the winds of change and how everything is changing. And of course, I also said you have people who will try to maintain a certain status quo, try to prevent the change, but you can't. That's the one constant in life. There will be changes. Just like you got the changing of seasons, it's nature. Things are it's going to change good or bad. Sometimes the changes aren't always good, but it's still going to change. And why did I say it? There's going to be change because you always got new people coming in, ideas, different ways of thinking, and everything. So people are going to have to adapt. People are going to have to adapt to the changing environment. And, because that's the one thing. Now, I've always said a person's either going up a staircase or going down. They're either spiraling up or they're spiraling down. But you can't stay still. See, that's where the trick is with people who try to stop the changes. You can't stay still. You can't remain frozen in time. That's not going to happen. Just your very nature as a human being, there's going to be changes. Every single one of you have a different body than you did 7 years ago. Why? Because you've constantly having cells that are dying, but you also having cells that are being created. That's a constant thing. So you're going to have a change anyway. Your body's going to change. Anybody who looks at anyone, like if you look at a picture of me when I was 17, I look totally different now at 57. And that's normal. And you can point to anybody like that. Even some of the people who seem like they haven't really aged, there's still going to be some differences if you look hard enough. And remember, some of them got good makeup. But here's the thing. You have to adapt. It's constant change out here. It's going to be changes. I mean, like I said, you've seen some of the stuff politically, but also economically, what people spending their money on. Let me use an economic example. In this time of inflation, and then this time of automation, people ain't going to be spending money the same way or even be able to get the same jobs. Indeed, a lot of jobs that existed just 10 years ago are no longer around. And so it's like, wait a minute, because they can get a computer to do it. They can get AI to do it. So I'm like, wait a minute, that's a change right there. So it's like, what are you going to do? Like, especially a lot of little stuff. Like I know where in the state I live in, you go through a toll. In fact, they don't even have toll booths in some places. You just run in a camera, take a picture of your car. If you don't have like some device that automatically takes money out, shoot, they're going to send you something in the mail. That's a big change right there, because think about some of the people who might have made their living at toll booths, at least in this state, in Maryland. They still have toll booths, manned toll booths in Delaware when I go through there. And, but it's going to change. It's still a change that's happening, The relationships, there's nothing but change there. So it's like, what are you going to do? There's going to be changes because, as I said, the people are changing. Circumstances are changing. Technology, I ain't get into all of that, but look how much the smartphone has changed the economy. You have no telling how many people, they make their living purely off of social media with their smartphone. Think about it. That's a big change. A smartphone? Because I was thinking about all the stuff, how I make my money with my smartphone. And I was like, I couldn't have did this 20 years ago. That's a big change. It's a big change when you can I'm sitting in my living room right now. That's a major change, because that's affecting like just people working from home and everything. That's affecting the economy. That's a change. Like places that used to have a bunch of people, coming in and out, like secondary businesses, like a lunch counter or something like that, store, place to eat, restaurants. They're not making the same thing from that lunchtime crowd because that lunchtime crowd is in their own home. So it's like, it's just little stuff, little changes, technology, the people, how people responding to stuff. But what are you going to do about it? Now, I know some people say, hey, let's go back. I mean, only thing that could really put stuff back, you would have to have, like, it was a TV show around 2013, spring of 2013, called Revolution. And the premise was all the electricity in the world went out, including batteries. So that threw everything back. You would have something on that level. And even then, they would start from that one point and then adapt to that. But other than that, you're not going to stop the changes. So what are you going to do? It's a different environment. You know, with relationships. Like I said this in a previous episode, men for centuries, millennia in some places, you know, their advantage in the mating game was being able to provide and protect. Oh, women got their own stuff now. They don't need a man's money like they used to. That's a change. How are you going to adapt to that? You know? And it's not a bad change in my opinion, but maybe I'll do that in another video. And well, let me just say that right quick, kind of a tangent. It's forcing people to actually have to get to know each other. That other shit was, quite frankly, very artificial. So people are forced to get to know each other, but then that's a change too. People have to connect. But then there's another change now because of social media, smartphones. People aren't connecting as much. Okay, how are you going to adapt to that? There's so many little nuances, but regardless, the environment is changing. The environment is changing. It's like, okay, what can you do about it? You have to adapt. Because if you try to stay still or you try to keep things the way they were on so many levels, everybody's leaving you behind. And then what? Then what? You know, when we get on jobs and everything, there's a lot of stuff. I don't care what the job is, people can't do or say anymore that they might have been able to get away with 50 years ago. And just in treatment of people, how they doing the job, everything. Can you adapt? Because if you can't adapt, you can't work. You might not be able to live well. So that's the important thing, you know, and it is what it is. Nothing to get mad about, but because the constant thing in the world is change. Constant. It's going to change. Can you adapt to it? Some people are built for adapting. Others aren't, unfortunately. But it still has to happen. All right? I want y'all to really think about that, okay? And I'll get back with y'all. Y'all have something for y'all on Sunday, but get back with y'all next week. Happy Family Day, as I call it. Some people still call it Thanksgiving, Native American Heritage Day, and everything, okay? Whatever day you want to call it, Family Day for me. So anyway, I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.